Welcome to our 8th and final video in our series on organizing your garage. It's mostly downhill from here. We've got everything installed and now it's time to make sure that we put everything away, and we're going to add some finishing touches. So let me start with finishing touches and then I'm going to give you some tips on staying organized. After I got all the big stuff installed, I still had some items without a home, or I didn't really like the home that I assigned to them. For example, I have a number of 5-gallon buckets that were originally going to be stored on the floor, and I didn't really like that. I just happened to find this bucket rack system that mounts to the wall, so I decided to purchase that to store all the 5-gallon buckets. This is made by Monkey Bars and it's extremely easy to install. Now, if you've been watching this series, you might remember that I have a ton of items that I want to store on the wall. Now, rather than buying all of the hangers when I purchased the slat walls, I waited till near the end and I actually bought them in 3 different phases. This way I could test out different hooks and shelves and figure out what I liked and make sure that my plan actually worked in reality. The other thing I found is that I had all these lawn tools that had their own wall mounts. Now, these won't attach to the slat wall, they're designed to go up against the wall. But I found these fasteners, they're hooks designed for slat wall, and they have these flathead bolts, and you can buy longer bolts that you can then use to convert something like these to fit on a slat wall. Over here at the workbench, I went ahead and I decided to install the under cabinet lights that came with the new age cabinets. They work well enough, I don't mind them at all. I also installed this power strip underneath the pegboard or the wall control system. I like it. What I don't like is this cord arrangement here, how it's plugged in. So I may change that in the future. Now, when it comes to putting everything away, you may find that you don't like your plan. So you've assigned something a home, but when you put it there, you don't really like it. That's fine. Feel free to go ahead and change it. The important tip here is to make sure that you update your plan, and you'll see why that's important here in a second. Another thing that you might find is that your plan doesn't have enough detail. For example, in my plan I had this drawer having screwdrivers, drill bits, and driver bits. Now, it all fits just fine, but as you can see, it's a complete mess. Don't worry about things like this. This is something that you can tackle later. So for me, yeah, I don't like this. It's going to be a little harder to find things, but this is in and of itself its own organization project that I'll tackle at some point in the future if I find that this is just completely ineffective. Lastly, I found that when I was putting everything away, not everything had a good home. For example, I didn't have a good spot for tapes or utility knives, so I ended up purchasing the bins after the fact. And then I also felt like I needed a magnetic tool holder, and there was really not a good solution for the wall control system, so I took this magnetic knife holder. I modified a 14-inch bracket from wall control so I could mount the knife holder to that. The point of this is to show you that when you get done with everything, if you're not entirely happy, feel free to keep refining that plan. Think outside of the box. You might find some storage solutions that you hadn't thought of when you started this endeavor. Now, at the beginning of this series, I promised you a tip on how to stay organized. Well, here's that tip. You have to have a cheat sheet. Now, I have a cheat sheet here. I keep it on the inside of this cabinet, so I always know where things go. It has the item and their location. So if I don't know where to put something, I can go here. If I don't know where to find something, I can go here. Now, you can have this cheat sheet if you use the spreadsheet that I mentioned in the first video, and you can find that at toolboxdiy.com/garageorg. I think it's invaluable. I go to it all the time, but I think after probably 6 or 9 months, once I'm used to where everything is, I probably won't need it. One other tip for this is make sure that you keep it updated as you get new items and you find them a new home. Well, that concludes our series on organizing your garage. It has been a long journey for me since I started this from scratch. But I hope everything that I've learned and shared with you in these videos will make for a short and successful journey for you. I will say that this has been totally worth it. I am very happy with this garage. I can't imagine going back to the way that it used to be. So if you're on the fence about whether or not you want to invest the time and expense in this, I can say I think it's worth it and you should consider it. Well, I want to thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you when we tackle our next DIY project. I'm Chris with Toolbox DIY. Thanks for watching.